We're going out to Calgary this morning on the video chat to join the latest member of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, Johnny Cornish. There he is, JC. Good morning, John. How are you?
How you guys doing?
We're doing very well. John, how is life as a Canadian Football Hall of Famer? Has it been life-changing for you to go into the Hall in Hamilton?
You know, at first I didn't know how much it would change my life, but it definitely is always nice to have people stop you on the street, be able to set up meetings with these people and engage with them. It's definitely increased my profile here in town, and that's something that you want when you're in my line of business.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of my pet peeves is the lack of television broadcast of the induction ceremony. Jim Hobson sending me the video of his speech. I don't have it yet. Can you summarize what yours was that great Friday night last month in Hamilton?
You know, I've heard that some people have seen it, but I've also heard that let me see this as well. I think I said sort of thank yous across the board. I tried to tell it sort of in the story where I thank the people that helped me in college, in high school, as well as a professional. But for me, I just built the whole thing up to sort of lead to how what I feel is the greatest prize of my life, which was sort of playing my whole football career, retiring, having my retirement press conference, and then showing up to work at TD Wealth the following day, where I met my wife. So that was like, it all sort of unfolded perfectly, and then I thanked her with the very last thing that I said. So.
Well, congratulations again from us. And I do have some football questions, but you guys take over. You got a few for Johnny here this morning, too.
Yeah, John, Marshall Hamilton here. I want to ask this kind of on behalf of all the Rough Rider fans that remembered you. I'm going to say fondly, but the truth is they don't remember you fondly.
Killed us.
But I'm curious, at this stage of your career, you look back on it, and I'm curious, what were your thoughts at the time, and what are your thoughts now, sort of 10 years later, when you think of the relationship you had with the Saskatchewan Rough Rider fans? And I'm thinking of in one incident in particular where your pants happened to fall down a little bit and you pulled them back up. Tell me about that relationship with the Saskatchewan Rough Rider fans, what was going through your mind back when you were playing versus what's going through your mind right now.
So I had an experience in 2013 where, I got to go to Regina to be part of the Grey Cup festivities and potentially receive an award for MOC and MOP. I was very much expecting to be public enemy number one while I was in town, but unfortunately that didn't end up happening. Everybody was super nice, roll out the red carpet kind of nice, and for me it was a wonderful experience. The people of Regina and Saskatchewan were great hosts. And that's sort of what I took away, after sort of that experience. I think everybody knows what transpired before. It was just jokes, and sort of at this point, sort of a few years removed, it's a running joke. My wife and I always, and no matter where we go, we will encounter a Rough Rider fan. And how's the way that somebody is a Rough Rider fan? Because that's the first thing they'll tell you. And I told Kieran this, my wife, within a few weeks of us going out. And sort of at this point, it has become a trope that just keeps on reinforcing itself.
John, let me come at it from but let me ask a question on a different topic altogether. You were one of the first Canadian quarterbacks to really make their mark on the Canadian Football League. And I'm curious, when you look back on your career, the challenges that you faced cracking the starting lineup, that is, as a Canadian quarterback. Canadian running back, sorry. And the challenges in particular when you've got a whole bunch of coaches and general managers that are all American. And I only know you went to an American college, but I've said for years that I believe that there's a natural bias that an American general manager and American coach will have towards finding an American to play their quarterback position, to play their running back position, et cetera. Tell me about the challenges and the obstacles you faced cracking the lineup as a starting Canadian running back.
I was unaware of any issues having to do with my nationality. I thought that I could roll into Canada after I was undrafted in the States. Or previous to that, I made a decision if I didn't get drafted, I was coming to Canada. And sort of because of that, I thought I was going to have the opportunity to play purely on my talents and my skills. Unfortunately, I came up, I was behind Joffrey Reynolds, and that caused a little bit of a delay in my plan. But at the same time, I was also told that being a Canadian running back meant that they would have to make roster adjustments and change around the ratio and stuff. And these were all things that I realized I needed to elevate my game even further to overcome. And it was just another obstacle. Now more to your point of American coaches, I think my time in the States at Kansas exposed me to both some of the best parts about coaching. My coach, Earl Mosley, ended up coming to the Hall of Fame induction, which I was very grateful for, but also the worst. The very first coach I had at Kansas, first thing that happens when I walk into his office is he tells me I'm uncoachable. So I just learned how to navigate coaches that might not necessarily have your best interests at heart, and just figure out a way to manifest your goals.
Wow, that's cool. Marshall just mentioned, coming up through the American college system as a Canadian, and now a Hall of Fame career. Now you got an award named after you, the John Cornish Award. Tell us about the award, because I understand it goes to the top Canadian player playing in NCAA football.
That is correct. That is correct. I heard about it around the same time as the Grey Cup. Sorry, as the Hall of Fame induction, and I wondered, was there some collusion here? Was there some conversation behind some back channels? But regardless, I was very happy, because when I was brought out to Hamilton, I had the opportunity both to meet with the Hall of Fame people as well as the Cornish Trophy people, and for those guys to sort of think that this needed to be filled, like. There was no trophy for me after I set records at Kansas. There was no recognition in Canada. And I think the people at Crown Countdown U recognized that there needed to be something. Jim Mullen and his team of people came together and let's do something. And they made a decision to sort of recall a more recent athlete rather than harking back to the past. And because of that, there was a sort of a consensus on selecting me. Now, at the same time, on top of the Cornish Trophy, there's the names of all the greatest Canadian players that have played university football. And because of that, I felt that it's not just a trophy with my name on it. It literally has all these other great player names. And in fact, it has one of my favorite players down there, and a few other guys. It was just awesome to see that all come together. And it's nice to have a picture of yourself on a trophy. But I will say this: the number one best part about having your own trophy is when I rolled into the Hall of Fame to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. My trophy was already in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. So that was an honor that I don't know if I'll ever get to live up to.
Wow. I didn't know that Jim Mullen was behind that. He's doing great things as president of Football Canada and also with Crown Countdown U, as you mentioned. I'd
just love to hear, I don't want to put you on the spot if you can't remember very many, but what are some of the other names that are on that trophy?
What are some of the other names? I'm just going to slide over here onto my other monitor and maybe something will happen. No, we aren't going to do that. As it stands, I cannot remember, and I feel bad.
Ruben Mays, might he be on that?
Of the first guy. Actually, now he's won twice, the first inductee, and now we're gonna probably see somebody else coming up too. So Nathan Rourke was he's now the two-time Cornish Trophy winner, and he's playing some great football, and I think he could come up here and play. But as for those other guys, Palmer's on there, I think, Jesse Palmer. And then a few CFL guys, but
wow, you're talking about some big names there, though, just with the guys that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Switching gears, so I have this Patriots helmet, which I think I'm going to remove. It just came here today. It doesn't feel right having it on my desk, but I'm watching them the other night just toy with the Steelers. And it just reminded me of the Calgary Stampeders just about every time they take to the field. And that's not new. That's been going on for a long time. Do you enjoy watching the Stamps just dominate everybody every week? Or are you like the rest of Canada just saying, can we get another dominant team in there now? Or you just love them crushing everybody as the alum that you are?
I like to think that I was a part of sort of the inception of that dominance. Coming in with Coach Huffnagel, Dave Dickinson, these guys have been around on the organization forever, right? Like when you have that level of continuity, I don't think you'll regret having that. It's one of those things I think every other team in the league wants to have. Look at BC, multiple coaches have gone through. Saskatchewan, multiple coaches have gone through. Edmonton, multiple coaches. I think Winnipeg is now starting to realize some of the benefits of having that continuity over time. They might have had some seasons to start off with where they were struggling with their head coach, but at this point, I think they're doing very well. And I think that's what more and more teams in the CFL should be focused on, is having that continuity. Like a team like Montreal finally gets some stability, and now they're getting some wins. And I think I'm not sure if we'll see head coaching position rotation, because I think at the end of the day, a coach like Devon Claybrooks needs to have some time to get comfortable. Ed Hervey needs to give him some time to develop, and I think that we're going to start to see that more and more often in the CFL, because there's not too many coaches that can actually coach CFL football at a high level quality.
No kidding. We got Wayne writing in here from Victoria. Says, it seems you shouldn't judge people before you get to know them. John definitely is impressing me as a human being. That's from Wayne in Victoria this morning. Well, I got to spend some time with John in Winnipeg at the Grey Cup in whenever it was there. I'll say 2015. You were doing that jumpstart stuff with Canadian Tire and Sport Check, and I'm like, wow, This is a super solid guy here. So I guess that's what's good about these interviews. And the other thing is, you are doing some media work with the Stampeders. We've all seen it. How are you enjoying being on that side of the camera and joining the dark side, the analysts of the CFL?
You start to realize some of your limitations in being able to judge the outcomes of future games. You start to understand what let's say sells the best online, which creates the best engagement. It's been a great experience, and I'm very grateful to the Stampeders for giving me this opportunity. We had talked about it a few years ago. Then last year I worked with Alana Nolan, and now I'm just hosting it myself. And sort of at this point, I'm very, very keen on continuing to do this in one way, shape, or form. I feel like this is sort of my way back, rather than coaching, a way to give back to the CFL.
John, you said you're with TD now, right? Is that it?
I was with TD for 6 years. So I was 3 years in the branch, 3 years with TD Wealth, and then moved over to Cumberland Private Wealth. And that's where I'm at.
I was going to say, do you always wear the red tie? I thought TD's colors were green. Thought they were green.
I wore this.
Oh,
I got my hat right here.
That's not TD green.
Yeah, no way. I tell you,
what else?
He looks as young as a college
and
kid.
I got my.
All right.
That's amazing. You better get that framed, which I'm sure you obviously are. But John, we'll let you go. I just want to say this. I had my cousin in there doing business with you recently. I don't even know if you remembered. It was this summer. You said some very nice things. So I appreciate that. And good luck with everything that you're doing, man. It's so nice to see that you're having such success in life. You deserve it.
Well, thank you very much, Rod. Thanks for having me on.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.